Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're a first-time viewer, my name is Jeff Lenoski. If you're new to the Trail Boss channel, you may not be aware, but one of my favorite things to do here is ride the most technical trails I could possibly find. And some of the most technical stuff is usually on a climb. So today I'm gonna give you a few parking lot drills that you can do anywhere to help you improve your chances for success the next time you're out on the trail. All right, so you might be asking yourself, how is a parking lot drill gonna help me improve out on the trail? Well, there's obviously no substitute for physical conditioning and cardio strength. So you still wanna get out and ride your bike as much as possible and try to stay fit. The less strenuous a climb is, the easier it's gonna be for your body to manage it. But there's a ton of things that you can do with bike technique that will help you improve your chances as well. The reason I love parking lot drills, you can practice these any place, anytime, anywhere. Practicing these moves in a controlled environment allow you to get a lot more reps in and progress a lot more quickly. All right, before we get into these drills, I'm gonna give you a couple tips on bike setup. I always think it's an awesome idea to put on flat pedals. It just helps you dial in the technique. Clipless pedals allow you to cheat a little bit more. And if you watch my videos, I do ride clipless pedals all the time, but it's because I spent years and years and years dialing in my technique on flat pedals. So I know my technique is pretty decent. So when I am trying to make super tough climbs, I will put on clipless pedals to help me out a little bit. The second thing is, even though these are climbing drills, I never climb technical climbs with my seat all the way up. If it's something that requires a pretty long physical exertion, I'll drop my seat about an inch or so that I can still get some good leg extension and get my pedaling in so I'm not standing the entire time. And if it's something short and technical, I will drop my seat a little bit lower. So for these drills, it would be awesome if you practice it with your seat about halfway down. All right, let's get into drill number one. Now, generally when I'm doing technical climbs, I try my best to keep it moving and to never stop. But sometimes that's not quite possible because things get really, really technical and there's all kinds of stuff in your way trying to stop your bike. The best way to combat those obstacles is to use your body to generate some fake momentum. By using your hips and thrusting them forward at the right time, it can allow you to accelerate your bike up and over whatever's in your way. All right, so this is what this is gonna look like. You're gonna ride, dip your chest to the handlebars, and then thrust your hips forward, straighten your back, and that'll accelerate your bike forward. When you time this with your pedal strokes, you'll notice that they get a lot easier as you accelerate your bike forward. So when you're trying to get up and over an obstacle, that's going to accelerate your bike and help you get over it without relying so much on pedal pressure. Drill number two is called the stop and go. Now, like I said at the beginning of tip one, when I'm doing technical climbs, I always try to keep it moving, but sometimes that's just not quite possible. You might skid out your tire and need to regain composure before you go again. Just because you come to a stop doesn't mean your climb has to be over. Some of the best climbs are made with a crazy recovery in the middle. This drill seems pretty easy, but it could be pretty challenging. So ride, come to a complete stop, and then go again. In order to get real dialed at this one, try doing it sitting and standing. Come to a stop and go. No track stand, just keep going. Drill number three is going to combine the hip thrust and the stop and go. Now, this is something that you probably want to practice on a curb or something maybe even lower at home, but I figured doing it on the side of this reflection pool would just add a little bit of extra element of danger. So this will force me to make sure that my technique is dialed. So obviously being able to ride up a curb would be a prerequisite. What makes this one different is you're trying to go as slow as possible so that if you rely just on pedaling, you probably can't do it. And to use those hips to accelerate the bike forward and get over. Let's see what it looks like the right way. Same speed, but instead of keeping my hips stationary, I'm gonna thrust them right there. Using that little bit of hip action just allows me to accelerate my bike and get it up onto the step. The next drill is something that you may or may not have previously worked on. It's the track stand. Like all these other drills, you might be wondering, what the heck does a track stand have to do with climbing hills? It could be something just as simple as needing a split second to get your breather, or it could be because you lost traction or somebody stopped in front of you, or you need to change line. But just learning how to track stand and giving yourself an extra second or two just to compose yourself before you continue on could be the difference, what makes and breaks you making a technical climb. So in my experience, this is the best way I found to practice track stands. Now, general rule of thumb is when you track stand, you steer into your front foot. There will be some anomalies, but for the most part, if you're right foot forward, you'll turn your handlebars to the right. If you're left foot forward, you'll turn your handlebars to the left. Turning your handlebars makes it balance a lot easier than just trying to balance with your handlebars straight. The first thing you want to do is just practice riding the tightest circles that you possibly can, and then do them as slow as possible. The slower you go, you'll be working on your balance, and you want to try to just do this so you can go in a complete circle. All right, this is a good drill right there. Now, the harder part of a track stand is learning how to go the other way. So here's something that you got to think about. When you stand on your pedals, your bike's going to want to go in that direction. If I need to correct that way, I can't be standing on my pedals, so I need to freewheel them a little bit. So we don't need to do big freewheels like this. We just need to relieve the pressure. Practicing on a slope will be great because it'll help you get the non-pedal direction dialed in. But basically, a track stand isn't just pure balance. It's just all kinds of micro corrections. All right, once you start getting into really, really gnarly climbs, you're probably gonna have to stop. Track stands are awesome, but if you've seen some of my most difficult climbs, horse thieves bench, bottoms up, I've done a thing called a wheel lock. So basically for that one, this is kind of like a track stand, but cheating. You're gonna ride next to an obstacle, use a curb. You're gonna try to steer into it, and then squeeze your front brake once you find a balance point and just lock it in there. You're basically balancing off the obstacle. This is something that you definitely could practice in both directions. The first one was my opposite way, and then this would be my correct way. The difference between making a technical climb and not making it is whether or not you put your feet to the ground. So this is just a creative way to make sure you don't put your feet down, figure out your next move before you continue on. This next drill is a progression of riding onto a curb. Now, when you ride up onto something, whether it's a rock or a log, ideally you want to try to ride up it at a 90-degree angle. So that means your tire is going to hit it on a 90-degree angle, gives you the best amount of traction. You're not going to slide out one way or the other. But when you're doing a technical climb, sometimes you will need to move your bike sideways. All right, so here's what it looks like. Front tire, back tire. So just like the wheel lock, this is awesome to practice both directions. So remember, anytime you're lifting your front tire with a rotation, you need to do that rotation before you lift the tire. So first my shoulders go, then my wheel, then my hips go, then my back wheel. All right, everybody, I hope you liked the video. This wasn't a full comprehensive how-to on those particular moves. It was more of just giving you an idea of things that you could practice at home, in a parking lot, next to a fancy fountain, anywhere that will help you on the trail later on. And like I said, the best part is you can do this anywhere and get in lots of reps so that when you get out on the trail, these moves feel a lot more familiar. So hopefully you liked the video. Consider liking and subscribing and giving it a thumbs up. Until next time, get out there and be a boss.